Welcome to the Money Manifestation Mastery Podcast with your host, Lara Waldman, where we talk all things money. Big money, big purpose, big power. Waking up your wealth for heart-centered business owners and entrepreneurs. In today's episode, we are going to expand your capacity to receive and expand your capacity to hold, to receive and hold that money, that wealth, that power, who you are and what you want. I'm going to share a wonderful story from a conversation I had recently and hold space to help you expand your capacity to receive, expand your capacity to hold, and help you understand the inner game with this process. Let's dive in. I've just finished one of my wealth expansion sessions with an incredible business owner. We just had a conversation that I cannot keep secret because it is so powerful what we uncovered and discovered and spoke about. And I want to make sure that you are included in this conversation. In this wealth expansion session, we were taking a look at where she's at in her business, in her finances, in her personal life. And most people would judge her situation to be great. You know, she's got a happy home life, happy relationship. She's running a successful business. She's doing great. From the outside in, everyone would say, your life's a success. You have enough. Everything's good. No problem. And that is true. Actually, we realized that it wasn't so much about digging into lots of her money blocks and doing all that deep work. She's already done a lot of work on herself. Like I said, she's doing great. There is no problem, so to speak. Except what we found was that even though things are good, and so many people would do anything to have her lived experience, to have the business she has and the life she has, she knows that she's not living to her full potential. She knows that she is unconsciously getting in her own way. So we spent some time exploring what was going on and figuring out where she was contracting against that potential, dimming her light, not going full throttle in her business and her personal life. It was really interesting what we discovered. And she found in her marriage, she was dimming her light. She didn't want to overpower her husband. She didn't want to emasculate him. And she didn't want too much and have too much. People around her, friends and family, actually have judgments about wealth and judgments about too much money. And she noticed that she was unconsciously putting a cap on herself saying, that's enough now, that's enough. She actually has the capacity to generate a lot of money. She does really well. She says her lowest months will be around $7,000 a month, generally somewhere between $7,000 and $12,000 a month. But recently she hit a much higher month. She took home net $17,000. And she noticed something that happened after that. She'd expanded her capacity to receive. And then there was what I call a kickback or a reaction against that expansion. She noticed that she couldn't really tell her husband for a few weeks about her great financial results. She noticed that she wanted to hide her income. She noticed that then the following month there was a contraction. Her income really dropped. And this is a process I call expansion and then contraction. So you'll expand your capacity to receive, you'll welcome in more, you'll generate more, and then there's an internalized reaction or kickback that happens where then you contract against those results. So we had a deep dive into all of that and really looking at what was going on. Not from the point of view that there's a problem even, just from the witnessing, watching, paying attention to what's going on. And this is how I love to hold space. No judgment, no criticism. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. We're just looking at what's here, staying curious. And then so much information gets revealed from that place. We discovered that she had these unconscious fears around what would happen with certain friends, what would happen if she becomes more wealthy, more powerful, more successful. She was scared of what would happen. So she's been keeping herself small and dimming because of that, not consciously, unconsciously. And while this is going on, she's also working on this. She's aware of these blocks. She's trying to work on it. But you can work on it all day long. And at some point, the rubber has got to meet the road. So we talked about the importance of taking action. You can study all you want. You can do all the inner work. But at some point, you have to take action because that's where the real transformation begins. So we highlighted some of the objections to generating and creating more wealth in her life. And she was worried about responsibility. She was worried about her capacity to handle not just the money, but everything that comes with it. Again, worried about the judgments from her partner, from her kids, from friends, and the impact that that was having. So, like I said, a successful life, no problem to solve, but what she wasn't happy with was how she was dimming herself. She was holding herself back. She was not only dimming her capacity to receive or limiting her capacity to receive, she was dimming her power and also limiting her pleasure. So when we went into the second part of the conversation, which was about holding the vision for who she is and what she wants, that next level version of herself, it's actually tapping into the potential, into the power, into that essence, and creating a safe space for that part to speak. We talk to the consciousness of the business owner as well as the consciousness of the business. What does it want to become? How does it want to blossom and grow? And this is what I also hold space for. And we uncovered a lot more power and a lot more pleasure and a lot more wealth as a result of that. And this is a process that I call expanding your capacity to receive that money, that power, that next level, to feel safe to allow it in, and expanding your capacity to hold, your ability to hold that money, hold that wealth, hold that power, hold that pleasure. Because if you don't have the capacity to receive and to hold, we tend to shut down or contract, or you might open for a minute and then shut it down again. So I'm curious if that's something you can relate to. I know I definitely can. This has been something that I have learned the slow, hard, and painful way. I was unconsciously dimming myself, hiding myself, limiting myself. Fear of judgment from my husband, from my kids, from friends, from family. And I was so anxious about the external judgment and kickback that I would dim my energy or hide myself before anyone else could judge me or abandon me or criticize me. And that longing to belong was so strong. And then the internalized sort of shame and doubt would kick in. Well, gosh, maybe this is too much, or maybe my whole life will change in a negative way if I keep going. It's all the fear of the unknown and the fear of the risk. What happens if I keep going? And this is why I love to follow the consciousness of your soul, your heart, your body's wisdom, because it will guide you forward. It will guide you forward into a more aligned way of living and being. And I've just learned to trust it. And those that are aligned and belong in your life, so to speak, will keep growing and rising and blossoming with you. And there'll be those that will, gently exit your life if it's simply no longer aligned. But I know that, oh my goodness, I was hovering on that edge for so long because I was absolutely terrified. And there's always an edge. I'm always up against an edge, my own capacity to receive, my own capacity to hold. And we're always playing on strengthening those wealth muscles, so to speak. It's not that dissimilar to what I'm doing in the gym with my personal trainer. If I went from 5 kilogram weights to 100 kilogram weights, that one, I wouldn't be able to lift the heavy weight, but two, it would hurt me. And actually, the way we grow and build strength is by slowly building, one rep at a time, one step at a time. Slow and steady wins the race. So even though I am talking to powerful, successful business owners and entrepreneurs, we all have this edge. We all have this place of weakness, or a place where we're not holding ourselves, or a place where we're not receiving, or a place where there is unclean boundaries. And this is what I love about business and wealth creation. It's going to mirror itself back to you, or relationships, or any part of life is always going to be mirroring itself back to you to show you where those weak points are, to show you where you're dimming or contracting. And this is the game of growth, of evolution, of expansion that is incredibly powerful, but also not comfortable. So what's really important when you're looking at expanding your capacity to receive and expanding your capacity to hold? This is actually about you feeling safe to receive and safe to hold. And this is actually happening deep on a nervous system level, on a body level, on a mind level, emotional level, physiological level. And that's going to happen one step at a time. This is where slow and steady wins the race. We don't want to rush into wealth. We want to relax and rest into wealth and allow it to be slow, steady, sexy, and sustainable. And there is no rush. So even though a part of you may want more, even though a part of you is ready for more, there'll be another part that doesn't necessarily feel safe. And what's really interesting about that is you have to take those risks, those small little tiny steps moving forward. But also practically, you may not actually have the capacity to receive and capacity to hold on a practical level. It's not just psychological, mental, and emotional. It's also structural on a systems level. So on a systems level, for example, is your business ready to scale and grow on the level that you want? Sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. We have to build the inner infrastructure within and without in order to be able to receive more, to hold more, and to have more. So this is why sometimes things take longer than you'd like and why we need to slow down to speed up. It's super interesting because often there's blind spots, or there's holes or gaps that you cannot see yet. There's missing information, and you uncover that missing information. You uncover the gaps and the holes as you go to grow, because every time you try and step forward, there'll be data, there'll be information showing you what's missing. And of course, the work that I do is all in your inner game, working with the CEOs and entrepreneurs and leaders on your inner game, but that will be mirroring in your outer game. Systems, structures, team, processes, marketing, sales, etc., etc. So it is endlessly fascinating to me and so interesting. So at the end of our call, we gave her a really simple, doable next step aligned action that I'm holding her accountable to. And this is what we do. We take a tiny little step forward and take that little risk. And, it's not about rushing into your future. It's about the journey that you're on, one slow, steady step at a time. And yes, sometimes you're ready to leap and jump and do big, bold things. But the reality is most change happens with doing consistent actions, small, consistent actions over time, and building one step, one rep at a time. So I would love to know what's landing for you in today's conversation. Where have you noticed yourself dimming or contracting or hiding, limiting your capacity to receive, your capacity to hold, your capacity to have more money, more wealth, more of who you are and what you want? And if you would like any help with transforming that, expanding your capacity to receive, expanding your capacity to hold, and working with this, I would love to support you with this. This is what I do. This is my absolute joy and pleasure. And there's a number of ways we can support you. You can head over to my website, larawaldman.com. The link is below. You can book in for a free wealth expansion session with me. Also, join us at the upcoming Wealth Retreat. This is my online event for big-hearted, soulful entrepreneurs and leaders. Or check out any of the resources we have. We have masterclasses coming up. We have live events. We have a whole wealth of resources ready and waiting for you. So I look forward to hearing how this episode has been landing into your life. Send me a message, send me a DM, send me an email. I would love to hear. And let's hold space for expanding your capacity to receive, expanding your capacity to hold, and the safety that is required in order for you to welcome that in. Sending you so much love. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Wealth doesn't rush. And I look forward to being with you again next time.